As you can probably tell, we are no longer in Delaware. We are now in Georgia. We are staying with Rob's parents because we are getting ready for our next trip, which will include them. So we've got lots of questions to get to that many have emailed in. And for those that weren't on last week, we created an easier way for everyone to connect the questions with us. And that is if you go to our website, groundedlifetravel.com, and click contact, you can type in your question there and it will email directly to us. And that way we've got them all ready and we can always be sure to get to your questions. So don't forget to do that if you've got a question for our next live.
Yep, so we'll answer those and then we'll get to your questions here in the live chat as well today. So let's jump right in. And the first question was, do you have any more trips this year?
And yes, obviously, we do. We've actually got several trips this year. So that's kind of why we wanted to give you guys some tips today too, is on planning your own vacation, because that's what we're doing. We're actually taking Rob's parents on vacation with us this time around. It's actually Rob's dad's birthday today. So it's his 80th birthday, so happy birthday,
Hi, Sarah.
Dad. Hi, Sarah, welcome. We're going to be taking them on a trip. We're headed on the Crescent up to DC. We're going to do a little sightseeing there and then turning around, hopping on the Crescent back down south to Fort Lauderdale, where we're going to be hopping on a cruise ship. The Celebrity Apex is making its way over from Europe, so we're going to be on the inaugural U.S. sailing of the Celebrity Apex.
Yeah, so we're really looking forward to that. Hi, everyone that's joining in. Great to see you all. Welcome. And a couple of the tips we wanted to share today was how since we just went through the process of planning this vacation, we actually did it kind of last minute for us because we decided to do this in July, right? And this trip is in October, so that's kind of waiting for us. We usually plan 6 to 8 months out ahead, because you do get a better price. And we did okay on this because I think it was East Coast route, so you tend to be able to wait a little bit longer on the East Coast than on the West Coast or on the cross-country routes. Those will go up in price really quick.
Right.
And the other thing is on the East Coast, you have more options. Like you can take the Silver Star, you can take the Silver Meteor. They go to they're almost the same train. And you can also take the Palmetto. And so you have a lot more options. If you're going, from Chicago to Seattle, you're taking the Empire Builder. That's it. So if that sells out, your price is going up.
Yes.
So that's the thing. So the first thing that we do when we're planning for a trip is we figure out which trains we're going to need to take and how few that we can take. Because the more trains you take, the more your price is going to go up. So because Amtrak is not priced on distance, it's priced on number of trains you take. So for that, we just go look at the maps. We've got maps on our website, groundedlifetravel.com, and we just look at those and we figure out which named trains we need to take, and we just start typing those into Amtrak and figuring out which dates are going to be the cheapest, right?
Yes, exactly. And then from there, we start to piece together what we're going to be doing in the arrival city, and maybe if we want to do something in between, train exchanges and things like that.
Then we figure out which trains we're going to link up. So if we're going to do, the best one you can do, I think, is the Empire Builder from Chicago to Seattle, Seattle down to LA, and then LA back to Chicago. You go all the way around the United States. But then one thing I've learned that I didn't do, but I recently started doing is map your whole trip out on paper before you start booking anything. Because if you just go ahead and be like, oh, there's a good price on the Empire Builder, and then you book it, and then you book the next one, and then you go back and get your hotels later, you go in and type in your hotels, and it's $400 a night in Seattle. Because the Seahawks are playing. So that happened to us actually in Kansas City. I don't know if you've seen the video where we went to Kansas City. It was 4th of July. The Blue Angels were in town. The Thunderbirds were in town. I don't know.
It was wild.
Every military branch show thing was in town.
Everything was in town.
The biggest air show possible in the United States. They were all in town. The Royals were in town. And prices on the hotels were like $280 a night just for the worst hotel in downtown Kansas City. And I thought, we're going to go to Kansas City and just go there. It's going to be really cheap, we hope. We'd already booked our tickets and it was not cheap. So we ended up having to stay out in Overland Park because we didn't want to pay $300 a night almost for a hotel. So that's one big tip, is map your whole trip out on paper before you start going. And then the other thing would be, if you have specific things you want on your ride, like you want an observation car, or you want to be in a viewliner, or you want to be in a superliner because you don't want to have stairs or not have stairs, make sure you pick the right train for that. And on the website, groundedlifetravel.com, we list all those things for you. So it's easy to see, I want to be in a viewliner because I only want one level. I don't want to have to go upstairs. I don't want to have to go downstairs. So that's going to be easy for you to do that as well.
Exactly. Yeah. So those are all excellent tips. Hope you guys were taking notes for planning your vacation. So another question that we had emailed in from the website is, how much is on tipping? How much should you tip the dining car and sleeper car attendants? So for the dining car, there's a couple differences. It depends on if you're on flexible dining or traditional dining. If you're doing flexible dining, it's not going to be table service. A lot of it involves just kind of, going up there and getting your own stuff, or just having all of it just brought to you at the table and set down. If you're doing traditional dining, a little more is involved. Sometimes there's two attendants for that. Many times there's two attendants for that. And there's also, like I said, the table service and bringing your order out in stages. So there's going to be a little bit more involved in that. So if you are doing more of the flexible dining, you're looking at about $2 to $3 per person per meal tip. And usually they have a little jar near the counter where you can drop those tips. And then if you're doing the traditional dining, we suggest a little bit more, around $5 per person per meal, because of that table service that you're getting. Now, sleeper car attendants, we say a minimum of $5 per person per night for the sleeper car attendants, and you can do those tips in cash, and you can hand those to them for the sleeper car attendant or the dining car attendant when your meal is complete, and for the sleeper car attendant as you're getting off the train, because they're basically the last person you're going to see as you get off, because they're going to let you off the train, so you can just hand it to them as you get off.
Yep. Let me jump into a couple questions here that are piling up. Richard's asking, what's going on with the website? Tried to rebook several times and I had to call. It told me I had to call instead of booking a trip online, and the hold times are unreal. We have had that happen several times actually this year, where we tried to book something with points and it just wouldn't work. It wouldn't go through.
Right.
It was just like, I don't remember the message it gave us, but it was several error messages. And so we had to call, right? So that's not that unusual for some reason. There's a lot of special cases. Now with the call times are high anytime there's a train that's having problems. So like if the Coast Starlight or the California Zephyr are having problems due to wildfires or something like that, they're rebooking tons of people, that's going to make the hold time really, really long. So the way you get around that, it may be too late right now, but the way you get around that is by being an Amtrak Guest Rewards member. So if you're not a Guest Rewards member, sign up for that program. And once you reach, I think, just the first status, you get a special number. So I don't have the status because we put all our points on hers. But anytime she calls in, they answer within how quick?
Just minutes. I think the longest I've ever waited was like 15 minutes maybe, but generally it's almost always like 5 minutes or less wait time. The other option is, if you haven't downloaded the Amtrak app, you could try booking through there too. Sometimes that works a little bit better than the website, so try that also if you haven't already.
And then Kevin's asking, just got back from the Capital Limited to Silver Meteor. Oh, that sounds great. What would you suggest a plan for financially for a roomette on the Empire Builder and the California Zephyr? hoping to plan for May. That is going to be a great trip. What I would suggest is booking as quickly as you can, because those are going to be more expensive as time goes on. I think this is going to be for 2 people. For the Empire Builder and the California Zephyr, you're probably looking at $800 to $900 a piece, unless you get a sale. We did do them last year for $550 each, but we went off season and it was the buy one get one free sale. So if you aren't aware of what the buy one get one free sale is, we have a whole article on that on our website about when that usually happens and how to look. So groundoflifetravel.com if you want to read that one. Have a super chat here from Richard, whose question we just answered. Thank you so much, Richard. Appreciate you doing that. We really do appreciate that. Thank you. Favorite Tiger's asking, what was the worst train delay that you experienced? And that was the California Zephyr.
Yes, we did a video on that trip. It's actually the last California Zephyr trip that we did. So it would be recent if you go search on the page. We did a whole video on it, on the delays, but it ended up being something like 16 hours, is that right? Something like that. Hours. 12 to 16, I don't remember now very specifically. But Amtrak did make that right. We'll tell you all about that in the video as well, should this come up for you as well.
Yeah, it was good. It wasn't bad because we had planned on there being a delay because it was the summer and it was hot, and almost always in the summer. They told us why, but they have heat restrictions. They can't go as fast because of the heat, so they're just gonna be delayed automatically because of that. Cody is asking, will Amtrak provide a full itinerary for my cross-country Amtrak vacation, i.e. where to go, what times, maps, etc.? No, they will not. They will not provide you anything other than what is on your ticket, and that is why we have put all that information on the website, because it is tough to figure out. So if you want anything like that, I think that's the best thing to do. On our website, we have a lot of that information with maps, times, stuff like that. Hotels you should be looking into, all of our recommendations. We've been on almost all of the major cross-country routes and stayed the night on both ends. And we put on our website, just under the route guide, which hotels we stayed at and if we recommend them or not. So that can be helpful because we always try to walk, right?
Right. Yeah, we try to be as close as possible to the stations because sometimes they get in at really weird times. So, getting a taxi or an Uber may be a little bit of a challenge. So we try to get really close so that we can just walk, and it's a lot easier, less transition and things like that with people.
Turnkey Mamas is taking the CoStar Light in 2 weeks to Seattle from Martinez.
Oh, okay.
That's going to be great. Yeah, you'll miss the whole Emeryville. I think it's beautiful right in Martinez. That's a really pretty area on the train.
Is,
yeah, so that's a nice place to start from. Kevin, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Yes, thanks, Kevin.
Yeah, saving for the BOGO, it's a little bit of a gamble, but yeah, we did that was it last year?
Yes.
Last year, we decided in June we wanted to do a bunch of trips, and we thought, let's just wait, maybe there'll be a BOGO, and sure enough, about a month later there was, and we had all of our itineraries already planned out, and so then we just jumped on them, and they were $500. We did the CoStar Light, we did the Empire Builder, and the California Zephyr. And the most we paid for 2 people was $556. So that's an idea of what you can get.
Yeah, the BOGO is a huge savings.
If they do the BOGO, you will really save a lot.
Yeah. Another question that we got in from the website was, why do we prefer train travel? Is it because of the cost or the comfort? Honestly, it's because we're not really in a big hurry. We have the time to just kind of hang out on the train. So it does take a little bit longer. There are ways to cut down on the cost. It ends up being about the same as flying and sometimes less than driving as well, and having to rent a car. Since we don't have a car, we always have to rent one. So that kind of comes into the equation as well.
So another question here from SoCal Kev. Would you love to see Amtrak get in competition like McDonald's, Burger King, Coke, Pepsi? Yeah, that'd be great. I think it would be awesome, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. Maybe regionally, because there is some competition regionally, but not nationally. I don't anticipate that happening.
Yeah.
Let's see. Evan's saying we really need increased frequency on the routes, and I think that is something that's in the works. We did a video maybe 3 or 4 months ago about the new plan for Amtrak for up until 2035. I think their big thing is increasing route frequency, because he's right, Evan is right. If you had more than one Empire Builder train per day, or whatever train it was, you could really make it easier to plan.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's challenging with it only going through once a day.
Exactly.
Each way.
Your problems with booking hotel rooms on a holiday weekend sound like the problems we had getting a hotel room near Carbondale when our son finished law school. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Notoriously, graduation is
That's
bad.
another one. Yeah.
We visited Allie's sister in Knoxville the weekend of the UT
graduation.
Yeah.
Well, it was our daughter's graduation too.
But she was at a smaller
She was at
school.
a different school.
I was like, why are they on the same weekend? At every hotel.
It was literally totally booked.
50 miles. Was
Thankfully,
booked.
we just stayed with my sister.
Yeah, along with everybody else. Yeah. So.
Another question we got in through email is if we've been on the Cascades route on Amtrak, and that is one of the very few that we have not done yet, but it is definitely still on our list. Also, someone wanted to know if it was worth buying Amtrak guest rewards points when they're on sale. What do you think?
Guest rewards points, we have done that. Yeah, guest rewards points can be great, because if let's say you're booking a trip and you're going to get a roomette, and it probably going to cost you about 20,000 points maybe for a roomette. Let's say you only have 15,000 points. You can't just put the 15,000 toward it and pay the extra $100 or something. So you actually have to buy points until you get the 20,000. And so it ends up being, if you're going to use your points, that you would get a roomette for like $100 of the points you'd buy, other than you can't mix and match. So yeah, we have done that twice when we were just short of getting a free roomette. We've bought points, and it was pretty easy. Now it did take a minute for them to go through the points, and that was one of the times, now I'm remembering, that we had to call in, because we bought the points, they were in our account, and then when we tried to book, it said
they weren't in there.
we didn't have enough points. And I was like, well, we just bought them. So
I'm like, it's showing them on here.
So then she had to call, and I think she got through in like 5 minutes, and it was fine.
Yep.
But
because they could see it on their end.
Yeah,
which was
that
helpful.
was Rodney's asking, this is a good question, Rodney. Do you ever ask for a refund when the train is delayed for several hours? What do you do?
So what you do is you call that 1-800-USA Rail and you let them know your situation, and they won't give you a full refund because you have been transferred from one place to the other, but they will give you a partial refund depending on the delay and how long they've put you out. That one trip that we did that was 12 to 16 hours delay, they gave us a $500 refund on that, which was
half.
a little about half,
about
a little
half.
more than half, than what we paid. So that was pretty good to have that much of a refund and still get from one place to the other. And they took really good care of us. The staff is always really good, even though it's that late. They still keep a really good attitude, and of course they continue to take care of you and feed you if you're still on the trains during extra meals and all those kinds of things. So they do take care of you. They don't just kind of throw you to the wolves.
Another good question here. How do I know if an Amtrak train is delayed if you are originating from an Amtrak station that is unmanned? That's a great question. So what you'll do is you'll pull up the Amtrak app, and at the bottom of it, there's a tab that says status. And if you type in your train number and your station, it'll tell you when it's going to arrive. And it'll tell you if it's delayed and all that stuff. So you can also do that when you're on board if you want to know when you're going to get to a station. Like let's say you want to, get off to do a fresh air break or something. And we do that when we're trying to plan when to go to dinner. Because if there's only one fresh air break and it's the next one's for 4 hours, we don't want to be at dinner during the fresh air break. Which we have left dinner before to go out there.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
But yeah, we check and see when that station, when we're scheduled to get there, so that we don't say we want to be at dinner during that time, right?
Yes.
Let's see. Mike is saying, "Hi guys, traveling from Toronto to LA next spring. I know I have to take the Maple Leaf to New York City and then Lakeshore Limited to Chicago, but then which is the most scenic route from Chicago to LA?" Okay, so from Chicago to LA, you have 3 choices here. 2 really, but I'll give you a third. The Southwest Chief and the Texas Eagle go Chicago to LA.
Direct.
Most people think the Southwest Chief is more scenic. It's shorter, maybe cheaper. The Texas Eagle is more scenic if you like to see like the border stuff. Like it goes right along the U.S.-Mexico border.
Literally right along.
Like you can see into Mexico, which is pretty cool. And then it's got some nice kind of rural deserty stuff.
Through New Mexico and
yeah, so there's that. The most scenic thing you could do though, which is going to be the most expensive, is take the California Zephyr from Chicago to Emeryville and then get on the Coast Starlight from Emeryville to Los Angeles. So that would involve 2 trains instead of 1, but those 2 trains are probably the 2 most scenic trains in the United States. So if you're looking for scenery, forego the Texas Eagle and the Southwest Chief and do the Zephyr and the Coast Starlight. Would you agree?
Yes, I would definitely agree. We usually try to take the least amount of trains. In this instance, I would definitely recommend doing those 2 because they are super scenic and that's beautiful right through those 2 areas.
Let's see. Is the connecting bus from Emeryville to San Francisco included if you book to San Fran with the USA Rail Pass? Maybe someone can answer that in the question because I think that it is, and I'm
pretty sure that it is.
It is included if you buy a ticket. You just need to book it to San Fran, not to Emeryville. But I'm not 100% sure we actually have that on the website. There's a rail pass guide. I just can't remember. We haven't done it.
I'm drawing a blank because it's been a little bit since we've done that one.
Let's see. Tink Disney Girl is saying, trying a room out for the first time next month. On my mom's bucket list, we are going from Orlando to North Carolina.
Ooh,
awesome. Silver Meteor or Silver Star, maybe. We're going to be on, that's the one we're going to be on in like 4 days. In all your travels, have you ever witnessed passengers getting left behind after getting off the train at a stop? I've seen vids where that has happened. I haven't seen them running, but I'm pretty sure if you got left behind in, what was that place in Colorado?
Oh, Grand Junction. They go into is it Grand Junction or the one right before it?
I think I don't know, I don't remember.
It's one of those, it's in Colorado. What happens is there's a little store right on the platform, and when you go in there, they don't blow the horn or anything and you can't really hear it. They just yell all aboard when you have to get back on the train. And so what happens is people are inside, a bunch of people get off and they go in there to purchase things, and then they lose track of time and don't hear the all aboard, and the train literally pulls away and you don't hear it until it's actually moving. So
yeah. So they didn't come running out, but there were people left in that store.
They did leave people there
because they just kind of thought, well, we're in line, they won't leave us. No, they will leave you.
They will actually leave you.
And that happens a lot. There's a couple places where you can walk into town, and a lot of people do, and I think people do get left behind pretty regularly there. Let's see. John is saying in New York, the New Yorker Hotel across from Penn Station. Yeah, we saw that.
Yeah,
from
that's
our
right
hotel.
by where we stay. Yes, and there's actually one that's a little bit closer. It's the Marriott, which is literally you walk out from Moynihan Train Hall and walk direct, just one side street, and you're right there. You're looking right at it when you walk out from Moynihan.
Yeah, we could
but
see
the New Yorker was right
sign
behind
was
us.
like lit up at night, and it was right in our room.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
It was cool.
Yeah.
What's the most underrated and most overrated dessert you've had
Oh.
on Amtrak. At first I thought he said desert. I was like, I don't know. What's the most overrated and underrated dessert you've had? I'll let you think
I don't
about
know. I bet you the carrot cake is underrated, but I'm a big carrot cake fan if you've ever seen our videos. So I bet you the carrot cake is probably underrated, and I bet you the cheesecake is probably the most overrated. That's just my opinion.
Cheesecake. No, see, the reason that you think that is because, like, when I get the cheesecake, they put all kinds of stuff on it. So it was pretty good.
He asked for all the sauces on it.
Yeah, it was really good. Anyone know when the Atlanta to Nashville route will start running? No, it's going to be a while.
Yeah, it's going to be a while on that one.
But
It is on the plan.
But it will be great.
That will be awesome.
Probably our top, one of our top three, because we're in Atlanta right now. Taking the California Zephyr from Sacramento to Chicago, I have 2 companion coupons. I'm going to use those to get a roomette. Yeah, that is a great deal, the companion coupons. You should only need one if you're getting just one roomette. But generally, we save like what, $300, $200?
Quite a bit, yes. Several $100s on it.
So if you haven't, that's another thing is I think the Amtrak credit card deal expires tomorrow or the next day, which we did. We had talked about it a few weeks back. We did go ahead and get another one. So
for the 50,000 points.
Another 50,000 points.
It's a good deal.
When they sent it to me, I was reading. I'd forgotten you also get the free companion coupons every year. So the thing is, that card has a $79 fee, but just for the companion coupons, we save $200 to $300 every time we use one. So that is pretty good deal. Question: we're doing a roomette for the first time. What is the tip that you wish you knew the first time you took a roomette?
Ooh, you know what actually was to have some flip-flops, some easy to put on shoes in the night to go, because our first roomette was in a superliner, so you have to, leave the room to go to the bathroom, and having to put my shoes on in the middle of the night as opposed to just having shoes that you could easily slide your feet into. So it's probably the one thing, right? That the next trip we were like, okay, we got to make sure we get some slippers in our overnight bag for the room.
Yeah. Can you talk about showers in metropolitan lounges? Is it true that there are some? I've heard there's some are in Chicago. So we haven't, but
we haven't. I've never seen showers in any of the stations. So maybe there used to be, but I have never seen showers in the metropolitan lounges.
Can you bid up just before your departure date?
Yes, and you actually will not find out. We were actually just discussing that for our trip this week. We got the email for bid up, and you usually get it a few days before your trip, like ours, and then you may not find out. Usually you don't find out until the day of travel, and they'll send you a new e-ticket if you do win it. And they don't charge your card until unless you win it, but you have to put all that information in when you do the bid up. And I did do a whole article on this on the website, so you can also go check that out, and it tells you a little bit about what are some of the things you can and cannot do for the bid up.
How difficult is it to have a satisfactory travel experience on Amtrak without a smartphone? I think that's pretty easy actually, because you don't need a smartphone for your tickets. You can they'll print you out a ticket, and if you're on a cross-country route, half the time you won't have Wi-Fi anyway, so you really can't use it. So yeah, you don't really need a smartphone. You can use it, but you'll be totally fine without a smartphone. And this is one you might know the answer to from Richie. Is the A Superliner bedroom smaller than the others? I don't know, but you might know.
The B is a little bit bigger than the other one usually. So B is usually the bigger bedroom.
So Aretha is asking, will you see a lot of scenery from New York to Savannah, Georgia?
You'll see some in the northern part, yes, but once you get closer to the south, once you get probably outside of DC, You're not going to see a ton.
Yeah.
You'll see little cities here and there, but for the most part, a lot of trees.
Yeah, a lot of trees in the south. In the southeast, it's just a lot of trees.
A lot of trees.
And that's why there's no observation car on those, because there really isn't much to observe. Any plans to ride a Via Rail in Canada?
Yes, we are making we're making our travel plans, tentative travel plans for 2022, and Via Rail is definitely on the list.
Stacy asks, if you get a roomette, can you have your meals in the room?
You can. You can have any and all your meals in your room. Your sleeper car attendant will bring them to you in your room. And you can also ask for your beverages too. They can bring those to you. You don't have to go get them in the dining car.
Anthony definitely agrees with your New York City hotel suggestion. So hi, Anthony.
Thanks, Anthony.
Daryl is telling you to walk like a Gwynettan. We did used to live in Gwinnett. I don't know what that would be how you would walk like a Gwinnett.
Maybe really fast.
That is funny though. Walking away from the heat, maybe. Yeah, we used to live in Gwinnett. Right now, we are in Forsyth. Can you bring a bicycle on Amtrak, or do you have to book ahead? And if so, can you lock it up in the train with your locks? Because I've seen people steal them from inside a train.
Yes, you can bring them, and you do have to book a spot for them. And in quite a few cases, you do also have to pay an extra fee. That information is also on our website, groundedlifetravel.com, if you want to see all the details on that, as well as pets. A lot of people ask us about pets as well. All that information is also on the website, but you do have to reserve, and in several cases, you do also have to pay an extra fee.
Holy Schmoly is asking how to know in advance the best side of the train for scenery. Some of the route guides on our website, we do list that. So there's definitely an article up about the Zephyr, which side you want to sit on, and the Empire Builder. And we're going to do a video about that one day. But other than that, that's really, you have to ask somebody, because Amtrak's not going to tell you which side. It's kind of subjective, but everybody knows which side is the best. So if you have one that you really need to know, just go leave a comment on the blog and I'll answer it. Because it's pretty easy to figure out which one if you've been on them. K-Storm says, speaking of printing out a ticket, you get a souvenir if you do that.
That's true.
Thanks, Daniel. Appreciate that. And John is saying, took my reluctant wife on a 30-day, 10-stop rail pass throughout the Northeast and had a blast. Traveled only between 11 and 4 most days.
Wow.
Had a fantastic experience and look forward to the next time. Wow.
I love that. I also liked that you had a time frame kind of to be traveling during that time. That's great, because that helps you too. Then you don't have to spend any overnights, and you don't have to worry too much about meals when you're on the train during that time. Good choice.
Yeah.
I like it.
Evan says, we've got a few more here we'll get to.
Okay.
Before we wrap it up. Is it easier to plan your own Amtrak vacations or buy the vacation packages Amtrak has on their website? So I think he's referring to AmtrakVacations.com, which is not exactly Amtrak. They're like a subsidiary of Amtrak. And it's definitely, if you don't want to do any planning, you don't know anything about it, it's definitely easier just to go with them. It is probably going to be more expensive to do that. And if you want to make your own thing, for us, it's maybe easier just to plan our own, because we know exactly what we want to do. But that's why we've put the tools on our website to help you plan that out, because it is difficult.
To make it a little bit easier.
If you just don't want to mess with it, then that is a good option as well. Thank you, Stuart.
Stuart, awesome.
Really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Says your videos have been so helpful as I plan the trip across America.
Yay.
That's great. Couple more.
A few more questions.
Is there a
before we
rail
wrap
or
it up?
something to lock your baggage to in the luggage area? Is there a rail to lock your bag into?
A rail, some of them have a little lip. It's not always a rail. It depends on the type of car, if it's a newer or an older. If they have the little, metal rail like you have over your seats in coach, sometimes it's just a little lip, so there may not be something there to lock it.
All right.
Okay, that's
I
pretty
think
much
that's
it.
gonna do it for today.
We are not going to be joining you next week. John, just in the nick of time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John.
Thank you, John. We are not going to be here next Sunday because we are going to be on the cruise ship, and but we will be here the following week. So stay tuned. We'll keep you guys updated. We do have an awesome video on schedule for you this Friday. If
What's
you
it
want to
gonna
know,
be?
it's all the sleeper cars reviewed. So it's a tour of every single sleeper car option, including the accessible rooms in both the Superliner and the Viewliner.
Yeah, we finally, after like a year, we were waiting to do this video because we
wanted to be
there
in
was
every
like
sinll one.
1 or 2 rooms that we hadn't been on yet, and so finally we made it in Superliner 1, Superliner 2, Viewliner of every single room type. So ooh, we got
them all done.
But that video,
So we'll show that to you on
if you want to
Friday.
see all the differences, check that out Friday.
Yes, so we'll see you guys. If you want to keep up with our cruise information, head over to Grounded Life Cruises, subscribe there, and don't forget to always head back to groundedlifetravel.com where we have tons of information, and you can also send your questions for the next live from there. We hope you guys have a super day. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.